Welcome to the second video of the Excel DSS project. Today you'll need access to the NASDAQ website, access to ChatGPT, and finally you'll need your Excel DSS Excel project file. Today we are going to use ChatGPT to find a list of competitors, and then finally we are going to add those competitors to the project file. Let's begin. Where we last left off, we had downloaded our company stock and volume data, including the date. We also sorted that date from July 3rd, 2017 down to June 30th, 2022. We now need to add three columns to this, and those are the columns of the stock price of our company's competitors. I'm using Sam Adams. If you're using a bank, you're going to have to find other banks. If you're using a manufacturer of some sort, you'll find other manufacturers in that industry. To do so, we are going to go to our trusty friend ChatGPT to come up with a list. Let's go there right now. From ChatGPT, we are going to get a list of competitors and their ticker price, but we're also going to ask ChatGPT to make sure that those competitors are publicly traded and have data that goes as far back as July 1, 2017. So we're simply going to ask ChatGPT, please provide me with a list of companies and their stock ticker, and that's very important, that are competitors, excuse me, of, and I'm going to use my company, Sam Adams Beer Company or Brewing. Also, the companies have to be traded on the New York Stock Exchange or NASDAQ since July 1, 2017. Okay. We're limiting it to the New York Stock Exchange or NASDAQ because they use US dollars, and the dates and the way they collected data is very consistent to what we have already. So I'll read the prompt to you. Please provide me with a list of companies and their stock ticker that are competitors of, enter your company name here. Also, the companies have to be traded on the New York Stock Exchange or NASDAQ since July 1, 2017. Let's hit enter. And here is a list of companies and their ticker. Now let's see, New York Stock Exchange, New York Stock Exchange. Okay, these are all. Now, for some reason, even though we prompted it not to give us anything other than New York Stock Exchange or NASDAQ, they did provide a couple of these over-the-counter OTC. You cannot use those. You have to use any three of these that have New York Stock Exchange. So I'm going to use Budweiser, Constellation Brands, and Molson's as my three competitors. I will write down Bud, STZ, and TAP. I'm going to use these three tickers, and I'll go into NASDAQ and get the data from NASDAQ. From the NASDAQ.com homepage, I'm going to type my first company in, Bud or Budweiser, and I'm going to do exactly what I did before. I'm going to go into historical quotes. I'm going to select Max. I'm going to select download historical data, and I'm going to save the CSV file. I've done this now a second time, but I'm going to save it as Bud stock. I'm going to now do the same for our next, which is Constellation, which is STZ. Historical quotes. Max. Download historical quotes. And then finally, we are going to go to, oops, Molson, which is TAP, T-A-P. And we're going to do the same thing, historical quotes, max. I know this is a noisy website with all of these ads and whatnot. You'll just have to make do. It's free data, so so max download historical quotes or data, excuse me. And this was TAP, and I'm going to save it as TAP. Okay, now that I've downloaded the data, I'm going to open Excel and then open each of those files that I've downloaded, and we're going to import them into our current project. So let's do that by going into Excel right now. So here is my current project. I'm going to go File, Open, and I'm going to start off with Budweiser. Okay, so here's my Budweiser data. And we're going to follow the same steps as we did before. Our first step is sort the data oldest to newest. Extraordinarily important, like extremely extraordinarily, majorly important. All right, so we should have the oldest date on top. We are going to get rid of everything up to July 1, 2017. And if you remember from our last one, there is no July 1. It starts at July 3. Okay, I'm going to highlight that, delete. What I didn't tell you is that you can use the shift key, and I'll point that out. All right, so we now have July 3rd at the top. We now need to go down to June 30th, 2022. Here it is. Remember that's that special row 1259. I'm going to select the next one down. If you click on the next row down, 1260, and you just kind of scroll with your mouse, or you can use this slider, and then you move all the way down, and you get to the last row here. If you hold the shift key down first, and then click on the last number here, it will highlight everything. I forgot to mention that in the last one, but some of you already know that. Then I'm going to click the delete button. And so we have 1,259 rows of data. Now, if you have less rows of data, you have to find another competitor. All right, so you go back to ChatGPT and you go down the list, and I'll use Diego instead, or I'll use SAB Miller, something along those lines. If you have less. There could be a chance where you have one more. That is possible, or two more. Just delete those and move forward. But I don't think you'll have more. You'll most likely have less. All we want is this closing column here. So let's do this. Let's delete everything over here. And let's delete this column. And then we're going to take this column and we're going to copy these numbers all the way down. So I'm going to take this all the way down to 1259 and click on copy, or right click copy. You can go either way. And we're going to go to our main project page. All right, where I have the Sam Adams price, the Sam Adams volume, and I'm going to drop in Budweiser, and I'm going to call this Bud. All right, I'm going to do Constellation next, and then I'm going to do Molson's after that. You can follow along. I'm going to try to do this in fast motion. You could also, if you want, change the first cell here to the stock name. So Constellation is STZ. Highlight everything from column A1 down to A1259. Copy, go into the project page, and then at the top here, you can then paste it. If it's easier, you can just paste it with the actual stock ticker name in there. And let's go to our last company, which is TAP. And that is it. You now have your competitors' prices in here. You have Budweiser, Constellation, and Molson's. Obviously, you'll have three different ones. You still have your company's volume, and that's the amount of stocks traded that day, and your company's price, as well as everything sorted by date. Let's save this, and let's move on to the next step.